this to stand out is that this is what they call a repeater. This is a minute repeater, and it will chime or ring on the hours and on the minutes. On the side right here, there's a lever. Did you know this watch chimed?
No, I didn't. But
Okay.
because he was blind, he was interested in things like that.
Well, when I met Johnny, he was a student pastor, and I knew his sister, but I never met him, but I knew about him. And my brother and his wife attended the church where he was student pastor. And when I met him, you know, I thought, he's nice, you know. And we ended up at the same place a few times, you know, like I was singing over at the First Methodist that Sunday night, and he came, and the pastor was a friend of his, so he made fun of him and kind of joked about following me around, that kind of thing. And actually, you know, as I got to know him, I just thought he was just the smartest fella I knew. And this is Johnny when he was a student pastor at Stedman, at the church, at the Methodist church there. And that's high school graduation picture of me. And this is when Johnny and I were married. And he was just bold and fearless, and if he believed it, he was just so strong in it, you know. And I was just attracted to the fact of his zeal and his love for the Lord. And this is Johnny and I when we were out visiting friends in Conway. And then that's Johnny being funny at Shallow Place.
Before my dad got Alzheimer's, he was like really smart guy. He was a guy that I would say is really wise. We used to go to him for advice on just about everything. Just as far as interpersonal relationships, leadership stuff, that kind of thing. He was just really smart. He knew how to respond to different situations, and he was good at dealing with a variety of people too. So
Johnny made several trips to Russia. And this is Johnny with the little ones. Yeah, that's Anna. And then that's Johnny turning Whitney upside down.
So I first noticed a change in him. He came up, the company that I was working for at the time was doing a conference in Rocky Mount, and he came up to help with that event for the weekend. And over the course of that weekend, there were things I would ask him to do stuff, and he would forget it, and then he would forget the way I said for something to be done, and so he would do something a different way, and then start telling other people to do it a different way. And so I really noticed that weekend that things had changed a lot, and so I started encouraging him after that to go get things checked out, go get tested to see if there was a real issue or not. And from then on, it got more clear and more clear that we really did have a problem.
He seemed the same in so many ways, but he wasn't. He wasn't the same to me, and nothing was the same.
I think for my mom, it was a combination of probably scary and frustrating at the same time, because my dad, you know, always made all the decisions and always knew what was happening with all their finances and all that. And all of a sudden he started making, you know, substantial mistakes and wasn't thinking clearly, and she had to step up into that, but he didn't realize that he was slipping, and so he would kind of rebuff her starting to take some leadership in their relationship, and so it just made it a really frustrating situation.
I worked a wedding every weekend from Labor Day to...
All of it is up to me to fill anything in the gap that can be filled. There's no contributing and no response from him.
I feel like, if I'm totally honest, I feel like I have basically lost my dad already. I'm just trying to do my part in maintaining as good a quality of life for him as we can. But the dad that I grew up with, the dad that I knew as an adult, that was really a support to me and help to our family, is really not there anymore, and it's kind of the shell of the person that he was. And so I kind of feel like I've lost him already, and we're just trying to do the best we can to maintain dignity, I think, at this point.
Are you gonna have some, sir? You want some coffee?
You know, if he wants to go driving around for 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon, then that's what she does. And or if he wants her to just sit with him, you know, for hours on end, you know, that's what she does. And she's trying to keep him at peace and trying to keep him free from anxiety, which is good. But at the same time, it's difficult because you want her to balance out having a life for herself now and maintaining the quality, her own quality of life, you know, at the same time. It's really important. I think she is an incredibly giving person, and I think she tries to do her best to be a great wife, be a great caregiver to my dad. I think she takes her marriage covenant with my dad very seriously and tries to honor that, and is just an incredibly giving person, and has always put everybody else ahead of herself her whole life. And so she continues to live that out right now. I think it's been difficult, not only having to make decisions that she's not used to making, but also just to go through the pain of him not recognizing people and just deteriorating physically, and the frustration of, you know, say, asking the same questions over and over every 5 minutes because he doesn't remember that he asked them already. Those kinds of things, you know, are hard and they're frustrating, but she's incredibly patient and incredibly kind, incredibly loving, and just continues to work through it.
As long as there's breath, there is a plan. And I think there's untold joy in fitting into that plan. When all is said and done, that's really the point. What pleases the Lord? I mean, what fulfills what He created us to be and to do? You know, even if it were that you never touched the real person, which I don't believe that, but if it were, I think I would still feel the same way, because this is the man that, you know, I have lived with and honored and cared for. This is the commitment. This is marriage. This is our lives together.